Kendrick Perkins. Oh, where do we even begin with this basketball enigma? Known more these days for his eyebrow-raising hot takes than anything he did on court, Perkins, he's like that weird neighbor who's so funny, but is always just a little off. Like you invite him to all the parties, but he never meets your family. Anyway, beneath that puzzling exterior lies the heart of an NBA champion. A guy who, despite his flaws and maybe a lack of talent, left a mark on the hardwood. So let's rewind the clock to the early 2000s when the NBA was a different beast altogether. Perkins enters the scene, a towering presence with a knack for making opponents think twice about driving it to the rim. Drafted by the Boston Celtics in 2003, his draft day comp was McDonald's. Good, not great, reliable, nothing fancy, but exactly what you need. If you really looked at the 2008 Celtics season, where the Celtics won the championships, Perkins, hoisting the championship trophy, played an integral part of that championship team. It's like a fairy tale, except instead of a glass slipper and a beautiful princess, it's a trash-talking big man who was tough but reliable. My guy may not have lit up the scoreboard every night, but he was the glue that held that Celtics team together. A defensive anchor with a wingspan that seemed to stretch from one end of the court to the other. But let's not sugarcoat it. Perkins wasn't exactly putting up all-star numbers out there. We're talking the Draymond Green special triple single. Yet, he always managed to carve out a niche for himself in a league filled with high flyers and three-point snipers. Perk had a couple good years after, but then he was traded for a bag of potato chips. No, I'm serious. Back in 2011, Perk was traded from the Boston Celtics to the Oklahoma City Thunder. And in return, the Celtics received Jeff Green and Nenad Krishjic, I think. Anyway, the tweet said, the Celtics just traded Kendrick Perkins to OKC for a bag of Doritos. Absolutely brutal. Then came the Oklahoma City Thunder era, where Perkins' career took a bit of a nosedive. Suddenly, the guy who used to be a defensive stalwart was looking more like a liability on the court. It's like he forgot how to play basketball overnight in a puzzling turn of events for a guy who once held his own against the best of the best. Alright, quick detour. This is the juiciest rumor about the man of the hour, Kendrick Perkins. You won't believe some of the rumors swirling around this NBA enigma. Well, rumor has it that Kendrick Perkins once challenged the fan to a game of one-on-one during halftime of a playoff game. What? That's wild, right? This fan was heckling Perkins from the stands, questioning his skills on the court. So what does Perk do? He marches right up to the guy and says, "Let's settle this on the court, buddy." Did they play? Oh, you bet they did. Perkins took off his warm-up jacket, grabbed the ball, and they went right at it there on the court. Whew. Good for Perkins because he won. Oh, how I wish I could have saw that happen. There was also this other time that Kendrick Perkins once got stuck in the hotel elevator before a big game. Perk was running a little bit late and decided to take the elevator to his room. But just as the doors were about to close, apparently they got stuck. And your boy is a massive human being, and there was no way he was getting out of there. But anyway, back to the Thunder. Every player hits a rough patch now and then, right? But unfortunately for Perkins, his rough patch lasted a little longer than most. He then got traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2015, and he went from being a big contributor to a mere afterthought in a few seasons. It's like he blinked and suddenly he was out of the league. And yet, despite his on-court struggles, Perk found a second life in the world of sports media. Armed with his microphone and an arsenal of hot takes, he became a fixture on ESPN, offering his unique brand of analysis to a captivated audience. Sure, his opinions, they might have been out there at times. Okay, maybe all the time. But you can't deny that my guy has a way with his words. After the championship year, his biggest highlights when he was on the OKC Thunder was when he received a technical foul for staring down his opponent too intensely. Yes, That's right, folks. His game face was too intimidating. You know, only Kendrick Perkins would get a tech for that. But one thing you gotta love about Perk is he is a fighter and will never back down. In the 2010 NBA Finals, tensions were high between Perkins' Celtics and O'Neal's Lakers. Perkins apparently told Shaq, "I do not like you, and I'm gonna knock you out." You gotta respect the man for standing on business. But hey, let's talk about basketball. Was he truly as bad as they say? Kendrick Perkins, a name that invokes strong opinions among basketball fans all over the world. To some, he was the anchor of a championship team, a defensive stalwart who imposed his will in the paint. To others, he was a liability, a player whose offensive shortcomings outweighed his defensive prowess. One big thing comes to mind. Remember that time that Perkins shut down prime Dwight Howard in the finals? That was pure defensive genius. But let's also not forget about his stone hands and his lack of offensive skills. He 100% was a liability on that side of the court. Perhaps there's more to Kendrick Perkins than meets the eye. Yeah, he didn't have the natural talent of a LeBron James or a Kevin Durant, but he had to work twice as hard to earn his spot in the league. He had to come out every night and give his all, because there's no way Shrek in human form with the ball handling and shooting skills of a third grade Steph Curry would even be in the league. Kendrick Perkins even said, "I wasn't the flashiest player out there, but I took pride in doing the dirty work, rebounding, setting screens, protecting the paint. That was my role, and I embraced it." Behind the stats and the highlight reels lies the story of a man who embodied resilience, determination, and heart. Kendrick Perkins wasn't a superstar in the traditional sense, but he was a crucial piece and the glue for a championship team. His grit and tenacity inspired his teammates and earned the respect of his opponents. You know, we may be too hard on Perkins. Yes, he asked for it. I get it. And yes, he may not have been a scoring machine, but he brought something that everybody can appreciate. He brought heart. So what's the moral of this story? Maybe it's that sometimes even the most unlikely of heroes can leave a lasting impression. Sure, he may not have been the flashiest guy on the court, but he was a force to be reckoned with in his own right. A guy who again embodies grit and determination and love for the game. And hey, if nothing else, Perkins proved that you don't have to drop 30 points a night to make an impact, because sometimes all it takes is a little heart, a little hustle, and a lot of personality to take you a long way. So here's to you, Kendrick Perkins. May your takes be scorching hot and your legacy everlasting. After all, in a league filled with stars, you were always one of a kind. Anyway, thanks for tuning in and learning all about Kendrick Perkins. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more basketball content. Do you have any other players you want us to cover next? Drop them in the comments below. See you guys next time.